There is something so satisfying in watching the collapse of Meghan Markle's brand. Now, I know that might sound harsh, but the satisfaction isn't really even about Meghan or whether you like her or not. For me, the satisfaction is having something I have always known about what it takes to build a successful brand be validated. Now, most people would look at Meghan Markle and be like, I can't believe someone with all that money, unlimited resources, massive visibility, and the power of the royal brand behind her would have such an epic fail. I mean, you would think that whatever this woman touched would be a slam dunk, but the opposite has actually been the case, and her royal status is a big reason why. And we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But first, I'm gonna do a brand audit on Meghan, and by the end of this video, I'm gonna show you not only what went wrong, but why. So you can really understand that when you skip the fundamentals of building a brand, even one with the power of royalty and Netflix behind it, it can fail miserably. And you're gonna know exactly what to do so you can avoid the same fate. Hey guys, Sam here, agency owner and creator of the Copy Brand Method. So, Meghan Markle, oh boy. She was really starting off with the deck pretty stacked against her, poor girl. But she kind of brought it upon herself. She is a very polarizing person. People love to hate her, and that's a really tough spot to be in, especially for someone trying to build something in their own image. So why all the hate? Well, it all comes down to the kiss of death for celebrities and brands: inconsistency. When you're inconsistent, people don't trust you. You seem inauthentic. They don't know where you stand, and they don't know what to believe about you. For starters, when she first got engaged to Harry, she said that she didn't really know anything about the royal family, which, hello, that just rings untrue. I mean, people definitely latched onto this and blew it out of proportion, but come on. She was an actress in Hollywood on a hit show with global exposure. I mean, that's where Harry first saw her, so don't try and tell me that there's no media awareness. She'd lived internationally. There are old interviews or blog posts where she's even referencing Princess Diana. So this idea that she really didn't know much about the royal family just feels kind of unbelievable. I mean, when Prince Harry calls you up for a date, you do your research. So that story she was pushing was just hard to believe. So that's the first inconsistency. Cut to a few years later, she and Harry have left the royal family and they're living in exile in Santa Barbara, and she decides it's time for her lifestyle brand moment. The concept is positioned as this elevated Montecito-inspired world of home, food, and entertaining. Martha Stewart. Table settings, garden living, with products like jam and honey and tea, all packaged up very nicely with her name on them. But right now, it's more of a concept than a fully realized brand. Now, during the initial launch of the brand, American Riviera Orchard, horrible name, by the way. There wasn't a traditional brick and mortar or online shop with products. People just saw and heard teasers. So they did things like send out limited jars of jam to influencers and cobbled together like the bare bones of a website to make it look like a brand was coming. So it had this whole coming soon vibe, but nothing ever came. So people were like, what's the deal? Are you selling something? Are you not selling something? Like, what are you doing? Again, inconsistent. So then she decides to do a rebrand of the brand that never even really existed. She pivots and changes the name from American Riviera Orchard, like it just does not roll off the tongue, to As Ever. Equally, if not more horrible. I honestly do not understand who was advising this woman. Meghan's explanation for this: she wants to move in the direction of something that feels more personal, timeless, and lifestyle driven, rather than have it be tied to a specific place, because the American Riviera refers to Santa Barbara and Montecito, which doesn't even really make sense. It doesn't add up. Think about Williams-Sonoma, one of the biggest and most popular cooking and home goods stores in the world. It's tied to a location, but it's in no way limited by that location. So again, just this inconsistency, and it rings false. So now you've got a different name, a different website, same concept, same products, same fundamental problem. And this is where the fracture inconsistency really hits hardest. She never answers the most important question for any brand. Who is this brand for? Because until you answer that, you don't know who you're talking to, you don't know why they would want these products, or what's going on in their own lives that makes them want to connect to a world where beautiful things and effortless entertaining is possible. Like, what are they trying to escape? What are they trying to make better? Who are they trying to become by connecting with a brand like this? And until you understand the answer to those fundamental questions on a deep level, you will never know how to connect with your audience because you don't know who your audience is. Go to her website right now. She actually has products for sale. But for a personal lifestyle brand, it sure does lack personality. All of the copy is just this like generic sounding descriptions of all the products. And I think there's like one picture of Meghan. She's in her kitchen smiling, zhuzhing flowers. But other than that, she's really nowhere in the brand. It's so thrown together. It's really hollow. And honestly, it's the most impersonal, personal brand I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot. If you think about Martha Stewart, she built an empire by taking her expertise in homemaking and entertaining and showing us that we could do it too. We didn't have to be rich socialites to be surrounded by beauty. She let us see behind the curtain of her real world and taught us how to do it for ourselves. Her brand is all about aspirational yet achievable. And people connect with Martha because she's the same person whether she's baking a cake or defending herself in a courtroom. She's real and consistent. And that enduring personality is a big part of what Meghan is missing. With Meghan, there's nothing there. I'm not saying there's nothing to the person Meghan, but there's nothing to the brand. She has no clarity about what I call her dream client archetype. This is the specific person she's actually solving for. A fleshed out, highly detailed archetype that is the ultimate embodiment of who you want to serve. Psychographics and demographics and all of it. And if you're not familiar with that, then be sure to check out my video called The 4 Main Types of Marketing Segmentation and Their Brand Benefits. And I go way into detail on psychographics and demographics. With Meghan, it's just this famous person slapping her name on beautiful products, throwing launch parties, doing some interviews, picking out color palettes, and hoping that that's enough. And honestly, why jam? Why tea? Like, what's the deal? There's no story about why this exists or what it means to her. Is this a secret family recipe for the world's best jam and she grew up making it in her granny's kitchen? That would be real. That would let us in and make sense. It's just like, I don't know. I don't understand any of it. There's no foundational brand elements. So let's circle back to that issue of why her royal status actually ended up hurting her. It's because she's inconsistent and she tries to play both sides. On the one hand, she vilifies the royal family, makes all kinds of claims and accusations, which eventually leads to her and Harry to reject their royal identities and declare they want to be private citizens. And then, on the other hand, her entire public presence and really the reason she gets the attention for her projects is because she's married to Prince Harry. It's because of her royal status. And she uses it. She uses her fame and her position when it's convenient and she's going to benefit from it. Otherwise, she's denouncing the family. Okay, so then you layer in the authenticity problem. She's simultaneously positioning herself as this sort of down-to-earth, relatable homemaker living in this simple, beautiful life in California. But it's total BS. She has a full staff, she's living in this Montecito mansion, and she is very much not making her own jam. You feel the contradiction, you see the inconsistency, and you stop trusting her. It makes you just kind of not like her. Now, the Netflix deal did not do her any favors. It just made things worse, and it drives home my point even further. So let's break that down. They had a major deal, her and Harry, not to just show up on camera, but to helm and create content through their own production company built on storytelling with a very clear voice and point of view. Guess what? They didn't have that because that requires the unsexy work first, which they didn't do. So they had one big hit tied to the royal story, Harry and Meghan, but beyond that, a bunch of projects were announced, they were delayed, they never materialized, and over time it became clear there wasn't a strong enough pipeline of content coming through to keep this deal going. So what happened was she tried to expand it to a new lane with Netflix without having fully established a clear foundation with As Ever. So it didn't really feel like a natural evolution of the brand that made sense. It was just another pivot. And now the Netflix deal has collapsed and As Ever has just stalled out. This is a classic case of brand dilution. She tried to be a lifestyle mogul and a high-end producer at the same time without a solid foundation in either. And this is a great warning for you if you're a stuck founder who's trying to do too much all at once. Both Harry and Meghan are inconsistent. Inconsistent in what they do, inconsistent in what they say. They're all like, we want to be private, we want to be private. And then they're like, let's do a Netflix special. Let's do an interview with Oprah. Let's write books. Let's launch a brand. Let's do a Netflix deal. I mean, it just feels like they ran all over the place talking to everyone about how they don't want to be royals anymore and they just want to live a private life. Well, then just be private and stop talking about it already. But they really painted themselves into a corner because being royal is what they have going for them. Otherwise, it's Harry and Meghan who? And for all of us watching, it's like, which is it? Do you want to be royal or do you want to be regular? Do you want to be private or do you want to be famous? Like, pick a lane, guys. And here's the truth. The world does not need another jar of jam. So why would they buy a $15 jam when they can go to the local market and buy one for $5? Well, they buy because it makes them feel connected to her and her world and what she represents. It's this idea that you're bringing a piece of her lifestyle into your own and somehow it rubs off a little. I mean, sure, you can make these claims of how the jam is different or tastes better, but the truth is that when you buy a product from a celebrity, it makes you feel a little bit like a celebrity too. And like you're elevated and you're elevating your life in some way. But that connection is missing because the person behind Meghan's brand doesn't feel real or believable. All of this inconsistency has cost her big time and led to her appearing inauthentic and untrustworthy. And no one seems to be stepping in here and offering her guidance on how to course correct. So if I were brought in, here's exactly what I would do to fix this royal mess. For starters, I would fire whoever is advising her because as far as I can see, they're not telling her the truth. They just keep trying the same thing over and over and they're hoping for a different result, which is the definition of insanity. And you need people around you who are going to tell you the truth. You need trusted advisors. Then I would sit Meghan down and I would have an honest heart-to-heart conversation with her about why she really wanted to start this brand in the first place. She could have done anything. So why this? I'd want to hear more about who Meghan was before she was an actor and a member of the royal family, because she wasn't always famous. She was just an unknown American girl growing up in the world who at some point was touched and inspired by the idea of making a beautiful home and effortless entertaining. That story, her founder story, is what's missing from the As Ever brand. And it's what will bridge the gap between the regular American girl she was to the woman who became royalty. And that is a believable story. We've seen it before. Grace Kelly, Princess Diana, we know that story. We love that story. We can't get enough of that story. Then I'd get clear on her DCA, her dream client archetype. I'd force the real questions. Who are you actually trying to serve, Meghan? Not wealthy women interested in entertaining. I mean the specific person. What's actually going on in their life that makes them want to escape into a beautiful home and entertaining? Who are they trying to become by buying into your world? Until you can answer that with precision, you're just throwing products at people and hoping something sticks. Next, I tell her to actually listen to her audience. She assumed that Instagram followers would just automatically buy jam from her. I tell her to stop assuming and start asking. Talk to the people who actually follow you. What do they need? What's missing from their lives? What would make them feel seen and understood? This isn't about complicated research. It's about real conversations with your audience. It's paying attention to what your audience actually says they want instead of what you think they should want. And third, I would let Meghan be in the brand. And here's what no one seems to be telling her. People don't want perfect Martha Stewart energy from Meghan Markle. They want Meghan, her actual voice, her real perspective, her sense of humor, The contradiction between wanting privacy and being famous. I mean, why not own that? That's interesting. Contradictions are not inconsistencies when you're honest about them, because that's what makes you human. With those things in place, the marketing transforms. There's a story, a point of view, the messaging is clear and aligned, the copy feels like it's coming from a real person, not a factory trying to sound fancy and get you to just buy. The email campaigns will hit different. The social content would actually make people want to be a part of her world. Everything downstream after you do those foundational pieces gets better and a lot easier. If she had started with the fundamentals, a rebrand and countless pivots would never be needed. It is crazy to think that even with the powerhouses of the royal brand and Netflix behind her, it didn't succeed. And it all comes down to one reason. No one can skip the crucial early stage work. Not you, not me, not a duchess or a prince. Now, if you're watching this and you've got a brand and you're thinking, mine is a little messy, something's off, I'm not sure what it is, and you'd like me to do a brand audit for you, then book a free strategy call and we'll take a look at what's going on and how we can fix it. My calendar link is in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.